Good morning. Today is August 1st, 2023, and it's been 3 months since my last post, and we have made a lot of progress. I went back and looked at that post from the beginning of May, and sometimes it gets a little discouraging. You feel like you haven't made a lot of progress, but if you do recordings like this and then go back and look, it's pretty amazing how far we've come. We've got a ways to go, but we've come quite a far ways. So I want to record today what the garden looks like 3 months later. And I'm going to turn this camera around. All right. So we're having a pool constructed back there, and I have another video on that. And so gotta excuse that mess. But here my hydrangea's blooming. I've got a little bit of blooms on my roses at this point. Hose out because I was just watering, and still construction. We've got construction debris everywhere over here. But I have hibiscus that's getting ready to bloom, big pink blooms, and it's got a lot of buds on it. So all those green big buds, so pretty. Lavender has been blooming. It's probably about time to cut that back so that it can flush again. Got another hydrangea there. This Vitex, it's Flipside Vitex, it died to the ground this year, but started coming back up from the ground. So I had to cut off all the growth, previous growth, and it started over. And that's how much it's grown just in 3 months. It's amazing to me. We've got some pots. I think I recorded one of these pots. We've got these pretty, these are doing really, really well. And all around this rock wall, I've planted, various different ground covers, and so they're starting to fill in. In future years, they'll look really, really good. I'll scoot back here so we can see some of this. A lot of sedum and some ajuga. I think these are so pretty. Jeff wants me to take these roses out. These roses were here before we moved in. There's one here, and then if I pan over here, there's one there, and he doesn't like them. He thinks they look sickly. So, but one of the great things about the pool build is that they excavated a lot of rocks. So we've been taking the rocks and we've been edging our flower beds with them. And right now you can tell, like, old rocks that were already here, nice and gray. New rocks, orange from the red clay that they were in. But they will definitely gray up as the clay washes off of them and they get more exposed. But we've got a lot of stuff in here, including mushrooms. We've been very wet lately. But we've got some Brunnera, Arbovita fern, astilbes, these purple flowers are geraniums. And amazingly, and I do want to record this, these are helleborus still blooming August 1st. That's amazing to me. They usually start blooming January, February, and then they're died out by May, which that's very long blooming. But for these to be blooming in August, I can't get over it. On this side, I recorded last time this leucothoe, and I mean, it has grown a ton since then. And things are starting to fill in here. We've got quite a bit of ajuga. I'm trying to line this with ajuga, with chocolate chip ajuga. And I've got a little bit left to go. My couple things not doing so hot right now. This lemony lace elderberry I don't think is getting enough sun, and so it's not growing. It's kind of peters out, and so I think I'll move it back by the pool when that gets done. My beauty berries in bloom. You can see that. Of course, still some on the roses. I've got a hydrangea that was here before we moved in, and it died back to the ground this year, and it's one that blooms on old growth, so it won't bloom this year, but hopefully next year. And then I had planted some Russian sage here, and that is obviously needing to be moved as well. It's not getting enough sun, so we'll move that as soon as the pool gets done, which should just be a couple more weeks. And then I've got some alliums. I think this is Serendipity allium, and they're doing really pretty here. And then what our plan is when the pool gets done and they're working on the driveway, we're going to have gravel put up here, and we're going to have the driveway go up and around the house on this side as well. So I haven't messed with any of this. But this is all filling in. I mean, this is a brand new bed this year. I just planted this spring, and got lots of growth on stuff because I bought the plants very small. Very, very small. Some of them were just, bare root plugs. And here comes Josie. Hi, Jose. This bed I recorded this spring. I have a lot of daffodils and tulips in it. And then I had planted some other things, but some of them needed to be moved. It wasn't getting enough sun. And so I pulled some things that were too scraggly, and then other things I moved and just put some annuals in here, some impatiens, since they don't need a lot of sun, and we'll figure out what I'm going to do with that next year. This bed is struggling. This is one I started last year, and I think there's some maples, and you know how maples are with their roots. So I have to, the things that are living, and they're doing fairly well, but I have to find things that can live under these and thrive under these maple trees. So this probably, out of my older beds, this one's doing worse than the others, because it has to struggle with those root competition. But I think that's the only bed that's having any kind of issues keeping up. This is a brand new bed. I had put a few things in here already, but I've been really working to get a lot more in here, and I lined it with these ajuga. The whole bed is lined with ajuga and goes all the way around with the rocks. And then we've still got some geraniums and some hostas and some coleus and ferns. I've got a big section here in the middle that I've still got to work on. But it's getting there. And if we go over here, I had put some shrubs in here, and they were tiny. And things are taking off in here. Mostly shrubs. I have a few, like a zinnia here and there. I had most of my zinnias and cosmos were just kind of scraggly. I did them from seed, and they were not very good. So I pulled most of them. But I've got a big open area in here, and then I have a few things around here, some of which are doing well, and some are just starting out. These are getting ready to bloom. I think these are some delphinium. Pretty little shrub there, and some gomphrena. Can't see it very well because of the sun. This bed right here is doing very, very well. I still need to fill in some more, but things are growing. There's my quince. We've got some gaura and sage. Hydrangea doing really pretty. These ended up, I didn't know what they were. I couldn't remember what they were in the spring video, but they're obedient plant, and they've already bloomed, really pretty. And I cut them back, and they're getting ready to flush out a second set of blooms. I don't know if you can see that, but they're going to flush out a second set of blooms. All my heuchera this year got eaten up by something. They look like Swiss cheese, so I ended up cutting back a lot of the leaves, and they're flushing out. They're in the process of flushing out new leaves. So, some of them are looking better than others right now. The honeysuckle is starting to do what I wanted it to do, take off and cover this stump. So that's doing, you can see the Swiss cheese effect here. I don't know if it was snails, slugs, or some other kind of bug, but they are flushing out new growth and looking better. I got one nice looking one down here. And then I put some rudbeckias in here. So everything is a lot bigger than it was when I recorded before. I had just started on this bed down here in the spring, and I had transplanted some, just a few hostas that I found over by the pool trying to grow. And since then I've been putting other things in as I can, and they're taking off. Can't wait for all this stuff to just be one mass of... I'm still putting mulch down here, so we still got some stuff showing, but let's see if we can get in here. These are wood poppies, and they're kind of neat. I hadn't seen these before, but they've got like some poppies getting ready to open up, and they're yellow. Really kind of neat. In here, I put a bunch of pachysandra, so this should like all fill in with just a carpet of pachysandra on this side. I put 150 of them, of the little plugs in, so they're little now, but they'll take off. And then the last time I showed this video, I had worked on the window boxes around this shed, but had not planted the shed area up because we were waiting for the excavation to begin so we could use some of the soil, some of the topsoil that they were going to be excavating. So we have now planted around this shed, and it goes all the way around. I've got lamium, I've got a nandina, I think firepower nandina right there, and some hollies. Those aren't boxwood, it's like a soft holly. These are fabulous. These are Florida Sunshine Alyssium, and they were tiny when I bought them, and they're loving life. They have probably, I've only had them here probably 6 weeks, and they have at least doubled in size. There's the window boxes. And what we did is we went around this way. And we had a pile of cinder blocks here, and we got rid of that pile and finished up around here. And then I'll even go inside to show the progress here. It was scary before, and I don't have a before, but we're getting there on the after. We've painted this green, we put a new floor in, we tore out the old hot water heater in the bathtub and the sink, getting ready to put a new sink, and we've got the toilet here. So and new light fixtures. It was just a spidery, scary mess before, and just having it clean is nice. And we've got all the plumbing working. We got new pipes, so that's really coming along. We want to build a bunk probably on the end and then add that sink, and we should be done. Okay. Almost done. I think I've got 2 beds left. This bed I have been working on this week. So these things have all been planted in the past week. These are more plugs of Pachysandra. So they'll fill in here. And then I have some Lamium, which will also make a carpet over here. I have some Hellebora and hostas. I've still got a blank space in the middle. I want to get some more of the Hellebora to go back through here. And then I've got some hostas, got some coneflowers, and I'm going to get a few more of those tomorrow probably. Got some more heuchera, corbels, and then a few more coneflowers. These are very short. But this area over here, I had already planted this spring, and it was very, very tiny, hardly filled in at all. And as you can see, things are really taking shape over here. They're loving life. And this is kind of what I'm hoping the whole rest of it ends up doing. We can see, look at that Arborvitae fern, that's so pretty. And we have a holly fern next to that hosta, a coral bell back there, another holly fern. These are just looking so pretty. And hopefully when I get the rest of this filled in, it will look like this as well. And then last bed, this is where they're putting some of the excavated dirt. So we'll have to work with that. The 9 mark has grown a little bit. But here's the Vitex, another Vitex, and this is one that I showed in the video 3 months ago that looked dead. And as you can see, it wasn't. Just was really, really slow to break dormancy, and it's starting to push out a few blooms. Since it was so slow, they're a little late this year. These will be purple, but it's just getting ready to push those out. And here's a hydrangea, and I got a rock that I just tripped over. And my asters. I've got some daisies. We've still got some agastache or hyssop with a ton of bees on it. I don't know if you can see that, but there are just bees everywhere. They love this. And my lavender's already bloomed. I cut some of it back yesterday. Here is a variegated, now I'm forgetting what it's called. I'll think of it in a minute. It's getting ready to bloom. It blooms pink. Hibiscus, a variegated hibiscus. And I've got some blooms coming on my roses. These guys have been horrible this year. Got to come pick those off as soon as I'm done with this video. And we got a few things still blooming here. More roses coming here. There's another hibiscus. This one blooms white. And then another hydrangea. We're getting in the sun, so it's a little bit hard. The yarrow is blooming. It's still kind of little since I planted them so little. And there's the geum there as well. And then right now, this is all the garden I've got. this year. I intend to make more of this area garden next year. But that's it. Thanks for being with me today, and hope everyone has a nice day. Bye.